What's up everyone, Darcblade here with another episode in our Guide in Destiny series, where we bring you hints and tips to Destiny 2. In this episode we continue our look at the various subclasses available to the classes in the game by taking a look at the void-based Titan, the Sentinel. The Sentinel Titan replaces the Defender Titan in Destiny 1, but keeps some similarities. For example, they're both void-based classes, but while the Defender subclass was mainly a defensive subclass, the Sentinel is a little bit of a jack of all trades. But anyway, let's get on and look at the moves and abilities available to the subclass. Their grenades. First is Magnetic Grenade. This is basically a standard sticky grenade. When you throw it, it will stick to targets. There is a slight homing mechanic, so you don't have to be completely accurate, but you still need to aim, after which it will explode after a short timer. But the aspect of this grenade that makes it unique is that it will explode a second time after the first explosion. Whilst the blast radius is not massive, it really comes in handy for taking out specific high priority targets. The next grenade is the Void Wall Grenade. This returns from Destiny 1. Once you throw the grenade, it will land on the surface, exploding and then creating a horizontal wall of void fire across the floor, damaging anyone who walks into it. Whilst its practicality can be questionable in PvE, in PvP this comes in handy for blocking off objectives and choke points. The other downside about this grenade is that if it hits a surface, a target, a wall, it can redirect where the grenade is going to land, and thus the horizontal wall may be in a place you don't really want it. And finally, the last grenade is the Suppressive Grenade. This is a pretty standard grenade. It has a medium blast radius as well as fuse timer. But the main appeal about this grenade is that it will stop enemies from using their abilities for a short time period. This is surprisingly useful in both PvE and PvP. Anyway, moving away from the grenades to talk about the class ability, which is Barrier. Their first augmentation of Barrier is Towering Barricade. Once you activate it, it will place a large barrier that you can use in a defensive manner. It's basically portable cover. However, you cannot shoot through this barrier, so you have to peek around the sides if you wish to continue shooting at enemies. The second augmentation is the Rally Barricade. This creates a smaller barrier, basically a chest-high wall. If you're standing behind it, you will automatically duck, after which you can aim down sights and it will make you peek over the wall. This provides you ample defense, as well as the option to continuously attack enemies. On top of that, it also comes with a bonus, which if you take cover behind it, it will instantly reload your equipped weapon. Anyway, moving away from the class abilities to talk about the jump or movement abilities. Their first one is High Lift. When you activate your jump ability while airborne, it will launch you to greater heights. Next is Strafe Lift. When you activate Lift while airborne, it will launch you further into the air. However, it won't be as high as High Lift, but you'll get stronger directional control. And then finally is Catapult Lift. When you activate Lift while airborne, this will launch you into an air with a strong initial burst of momentum. This can help avoid fire, or maybe get the jump on opponents in PvP. Now the super ability available to the Sentinel Titan is the Sentinel Shield. This, unlike some supers in the game, is very versatile. Once you activate it, your super bar will start to drain, during which you'll have 3 options available to you. Firstly, if you press the melee or fire button, you will do a 3-hit combo with your shield. This is quite powerful in itself, and it's rare that you'll get all 3 hits on an opponent, as most opponents will die from just simply a hit from the shield. Next, if you press your grenade ability, then you will then throw the shield. This will then ricochet between opponents, obstacles, walls and so on. This gives you the option to do ranged damage with your super. However, you'll notice that the shield has its own cooldown, which is indicated in the bottom left of your screen, so you can't just spam it. You can do various things to augment the cooldown of the shield, but I'll talk about that later. And then finally, if you hold the aim down sights button, you will then hold up the shield, guarding yourself, protecting you from incoming damage. So as you can see, there's lots of versatility here with this super. But anyway, moving away from the super to talk about the passives available to the Sentinel. These are divided into 2 codes. First is Code of the Protector, which is a defense focused passive. This is 1 melee and 3 passives. Their melee ability is Defensive Strike. Basically, killing an enemy with your melee attack will create an overshield. This affects you and any allies nearby. It lasts for a fairly long time, however, if the enemy are able to drain it, it's gone. Their first passive is Rallying Force. This allows melee kills to restore health for you and your nearby allies. This is very useful for both you and your teammates, so long as you can get the melee kills. Next is Turn the Tide. When your overshield is active from the defensive strike, it will increase your melee damage as well as your reload speed. On top of that, it will make the overshield last longer. This is a great all-round buff for you, so long as you can get that overshield active. And then finally is Ward of Dawn. Fans of the Defender Titan will be glad to hear that the Ward of Dawn still exists. This was the super of the Defender Titan. Basically, this gives you another option for your super. When your super is active and ready, if you press and hold your super button, it will create a Ward of Dawn, which is a shielding dome that protects you and your allies. Enemies can't shoot into it, but on top of that you can't shoot out of it. Nonetheless, it provides a great defensive area. The downside though is when compared to Destiny 1 there's no weapons of light or other buffs that enhance you or your allies. So in some respects, although Ward of Dawn is still around, it's a shadow of its former self. Anyway, moving away from Code of the Protector and looking at Code of the Aggressor. This is a more offensive orientated tree. Again, it's 1 melee and 3 passives. Their melee ability is Shield Bash. After you sprint for a short time, you'll start to notice lines around your HUD, indicating you're running fast enough to activate the Shield Bash. After which, if you press the melee button, it will unleash a devastating Shield Bash that disorients enemies. It also deals a fair amount of damage. Shield Bash will affect enemies who are clumped up together, which makes it very useful. However, the tricky thing about this is you have to be running at top speed to activate it. Unlike other melee abilities in the game, it's simply not ready to press whenever you need it. But anyway, moving on to look at the passives. First one is Superior Arsenal. This allows grenade kills to recharge your grenade energy, reducing their cooldown. Whilst this may seem okay to some, if you're able to get a grenade kill that kills multiple targets, it could potentially give you your entire grenade back straight away. But getting into a situation to allow this is rare. Next is In the Trenches. This allows kills while you're surrounded by enemies to reduce the cooldown of your super. This comes in handy in an emergency, but you don't really want to be surrounded by enemies in the first place. And then finally is Second Shield. This allows your super to have an additional shield throw charge while it's active. This can come in incredibly handy and allow your super to deal some more ranged damage or even ranged burst damage if you use it twice in succession. Now overall, as you can tell, it does feel like this class is a jack of all trades. It has great close quarters capability, it has a fairly decent medium range game. The area it does lack in is its long range game, unfortunately. However, when it comes to defense, they also have tools in their arsenal to excel in this. This can make the Sentinel Titan useful in almost any activity you take on in Destiny 2. Anyway, I hope you found this video interesting or helpful, and until next time, I've been Darcblade, bringing you another episode in our Guide in Destiny series to Destiny 2 for the Sentinel Titan. Hope you enjoyed the video, thanks for watching, subscribe and like for more.